coming out tonight. My speech tonight is not going to be long, so you can all breathe a sigh of relief with that. But I do want to thank all of the sponsors this evening. We have a lot of great sponsors helping out. And I do, of course, want to find and point out to you my wife, who's in the audience in the back there in the purple. There's my wife, Chris. She travels with me back and forth every week to Sacramento, so she really puts up with a lot, and I really appreciate her support. So, and I want to thank Bob McGee for giving half of my speech already, so that was very, very nice of him. Before I say a few more words, we have in our presence tonight a gentleman who should be recognized for his service to our country. This evening we are joined by a gentleman who is a veteran of World War II, the Pacific Theater, the 32nd Infantry Division, the 128th Infantry Regiment. He was honored as the Assembly Veteran of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you a gentleman who has served his country well, Angel Sanchez Sr. Please stand up.
And I loved it when I was there.
All right. Well, for me, tonight is, well, let me say it. You know, I was a guy who was focused on becoming a firefighter. That was the path that I was going to take, and it's been quite a journey that brings me here tonight to all of you. You see, it was never my intention, never, to get into politics. In fact, I was the guy that failed drama in high school because I wouldn't speak in front of a group of people. It wasn't going to have anything to do with it. My parents knew it, my wife knew it, my kids knew it. I was going to be a firefighter, not a politician. Life kind of has a funny way of changing your plans on you when you least expect it. And so, to me, being here tonight and having the support of all of you means a great deal to me. Besides, firefighting is a young man's thing. And when you don't have fear and you don't worry about pain, hey, when you get older, it takes longer to heal. So politics isn't that bad of a contact sport. But for me, serving my community and giving back to my community was always a priority. And so I stayed as a volunteer firefighter. I served on the Chamber of Commerce, served on the Balloon and Wine Festival Board. We heard earlier from Bob McGee that I served on the Park Board here and the Water District Boards. I just always loved working for my community and helping out, even though poverty wasn't really that kind of a good thing for me. So, but honestly, helping out has always been something I felt every one of us should do. And there are many of you in this room who do the same thing and give back to your community in every way that you can. And I really do appreciate that. I did get out of politics after being elected at a young age to the Park District and focused on the business. My wife and I started a family and a business. And that lasted about 4 or 5 years. Then I got a phone call from some friends in the family that said, we'd really like you to run for the water board. And as my wife would tell you, it was kind of all downhill from there. So I served on the boards, and then in November 2006, with many of you that are here tonight in this very same room, I had the honor of being elected to the California State Legislature. And boy, that has been a ride, let me tell you. Serving with Governor Schwarzenegger and then now serving with Governor Brown, 2 totally different styles, different management techniques, different approaches to governing, quite a difference. Unfortunately, the problems are still the same. Big spending, big deficits, and the challenges of businesses and jobs leaving the state. And that has been probably the most frustrating part of serving in the state legislature, is watching jobs and businesses pack up and go, the foreclosures that have occurred across our county, the commuters who are having to drive into other counties to look for work. That's kind of what brings us all here tonight. Riverside County, like our state and our nation, we are facing the same challenges. Big budget deficits, job losses, the need to create jobs. It's the same thing, but it's happening statewide. And here in Riverside County, we have some of the highest unemployment rates and the highest foreclosures. And we have to find a way to turn that around. Many of these things that occurred are beyond our control, but we have to find a way to mitigate it. We have to make some very, very tough decisions that lie ahead. The state of California is preparing to ship nearly 60,000 convicted felons out of the state prisons down to the county jails. The county jails are already overcrowded. So you know that means folks are going to come out of the bottom as the felons come out of the state system into the county jails. We do not have the ability to deal with that. We are going to have lots of really bad folks coming back into our neighborhoods. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse because of the county budget problems, we're looking at the layoffs of hundreds of deputies and potential closings of fire stations. This also comes at a time when the state is looking at shifting large responsibilities of health and welfare, social services to the county governments with very little assurance of the funding to pay for it. The timing couldn't be worse. The challenges for the taxpayers are great. And like first responders who respond to emergencies, your current and your future elected officials are going to have to triage the situation and make tough choices. They're going to have to decide what services will continue and what services will be reduced, what services will be eliminated, what services will be suspended. And we're not going to like those choices, but they are choices that have to be made. Choices have been made by businesses already, as I said earlier. They've packed up and they've left the state. They've taken their jobs with them. And this is where we can make a difference in Riverside County. Many of us have seen the businesses that have closed up shop and just simply moved back into Orange County or Los Angeles or San Diego. They contracted and shrank and left us looking for work. So that leaves our families commuting into Los Angeles and Orange County. Unfortunately, this region was noted as having some of the longest commute times in the nation. That takes quite a toll on our families. And it's these reasons that I stand before you tonight. I envision a county government that will fight to bring the jobs and the businesses back to Riverside County. We must be a county that is going to prepare itself and position itself to pull itself up by the bootstraps during this great recession and position itself to say, we want those businesses here. We want those manufacturing jobs here. We want you to bring your business and we want you to bring your jobs. And we have to quit discouraging businesses from coming here. I envision a county that's also going to live within its means. That's going to hold firm to the principle that we pay enough in taxes, we can't afford to pay anymore, but we're going to use the tax dollars that you pay today, and we're going to use them very wisely and for the most important and effective programs that the county can deliver. We cannot afford to let the money be squandered away or spent on priorities that are not at the top of the list, to be honest with you. We can't afford to have the felons coming back into our communities and having felons released and our sheriffs being laid off. We can't afford that. We can't afford to close fire stations when every fire season we see the wildland fires that sweep through Riverside County and the losses of our homes. Public safety is the first and foremost responsibility of government, to protect its citizens. And if we have a $700 million a year budget for the county, and we can't afford to keep a fire station open, or we can't afford to keep a cop in our neighborhood, something's wrong with our priorities. Something has to change. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand here tonight to reaffirm that I am prepared to fight for every neighborhood, every community in our county. I'm prepared to hold the line on the taxes and the spending, and I'm also prepared to bring transparency and accountability as to how we spend your money. Ladies and gentlemen, it is both with a little bit of humility and a whole lot of determination that I announce to you tonight my candidacy for the Riverside County Board of Supervisors. I do appreciate it. Look, it's going to be a tough fight. This is not going to be an easy challenge. It's going to take a lot of work, and the advice, the support, the input that you can provide to me will be incredibly valuable as we move forward during this election. We have an incredible opportunity to preserve Riverside County, the open spaces that we have, while we also respect private property rights. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I would like to have 11 million people move from Los Angeles County to Riverside. I'm not interested in seeing concrete walls from one end to the other. But I am going to tell you that we have private property rights that must be respected. And we also have the ability to work with landowners to develop the open space that we can enjoy for our families. We have a quality of life in Riverside County that we all truly enjoy. And there are very few other counties that offer us the opportunities we have here today, even tonight. And we can work to preserve those. But we also have to work to rebuild our economy. I've faced some pretty tough battles fighting fires over 29 years. I've faced some pretty big battles running for elected office. I've faced some pretty big challenges up in the California State Legislature. I'm ready for tonight. I am all in, and I appreciate your support. Thank you very much for coming.